All right, everybody, buckle up. Today, we're diving into something I think we can all relate to. Trust.
Hmm.
You know that feeling when you're about to take a leap of faith? Equal parts exciting and terrifying.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we're taking a deep dive into Elder Paul B. Piper's talk from April 2024's General Conference, Trust in the Lord.
Great choice.
And I know a lot of you were really interested in unpacking this one, so I'm excited to dig in. Seems like there's a real desire to explore trust, especially when it comes to our relationship with God.
It's definitely a topic that resonates deeply, and I think what's so interesting about how Piper approaches this is he brings up that classic trust exercise.
Mm.
The trust fall.
Oh, man. Just thinking about it makes me kind of queasy.
Right. But it's such a powerful analogy. He starts by comparing it to that feeling of literally falling backwards, hoping someone's there to catch you.
Yeah, totally.
And then he takes it a step further and connects it to our relationship with God.
So it's not just us trusting God, but God trusting us. It's kind of a wild thought when you really think about it.
It really is.
And he really emphasizes that with the quote, "Our relationship can be built only when we choose to trust in him."
Exactly. That word choose really stood out to me too. Piper's establishing that a genuine relationship with God, it hinges on our active choice to trust. It's not passive.
Which kind of leads to a bigger question then, right? I mean, God knows us, like really knows us, all our flaws, everything.
Right.
So why would he entrust us with anything at all? Makes me think of all the times well, let's just say I've had trust falls that didn't exactly go as planned. So why would God trust us with that kind of freedom?
Such a great question. And you know what? Piper tackles this head on. He says God's trust in us, it's not about ignoring our imperfections. It's about believing in our potential. Like, he wants us to choose right, to learn from our mistakes, to become more like him. It's
Yeah.
about growth, not just blind obedience.
Okay, so it's less about being perfect and more about like striving to reach our full potential. I
Exactly.
can get behind that.
Yeah, and to further drive that point home, he quotes Elder Dale G. Renlund, who said, God's goal is not to have his children do what is right. It is to have his children choose to do what is right and ultimately become like him.
It's always reassuring when you see these ideas echoed by different leaders. It's like, okay, this isn't just one person's opinion. This is a pattern.
Absolutely. But then Piper, he brings us back down to earth a little bit. He acknowledges something we all know to be true. We live in a world where trust is broken all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Betrayal happens, people disappoint us.
That whole "I've been burned before, haven't you" feeling.
Yes. He gets real about that. And that's where he brings in this incredibly moving story of Leonid and Valentina, who were exploring the church. Leonid, he really struggled to even pray because of past experiences he had with authority figures abusing their power.
Wow.
Can you imagine carrying that kind of baggage where trusting anyone, even God, felt impossible?
That is a heavy load to carry. It's a good reminder that we all come to this whole trust thing with our own stories, our own hurts that shape how we view the world. So how did he overcome that?
It was a journey for sure. It took time and effort. But by studying and experiencing God's love for himself, Leonid was able to find a path to trust. And this leads us to a really important point that Piper highlights from President Nelson.
Yeah, so President Nelson, he said that the more we actually understand God, like his character, his attributes, the easier it becomes to trust him.
Oh, totally.
It's like knowledge can actually pave the way for faith.
That makes sense. It's like getting to know a person, right? Like the more you understand their heart, their motivations, the easier it is to trust them, even when they mess up. Exactly. But here's where Piper, he takes it a step further. He doesn't just talk about trust in a general sense. He really digs into how we navigate trust when things get tough.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, it's easy to trust when life is good, when things are going our way.
It's like that saying, don't trust anyone who hasn't been through some stuff,
Right. And Piper seems to suggest that those challenging moments, when we really have to dig deep and hold on to trust, even when it's hard, that's where the real growth happens. And he even admits that he's been there himself.
You mean when he talks about losing his job right after his daughter was born with health issues?
Exactly. Like, talk about 1-2 punch. He's incredibly open about how hard it was to keep trusting when life felt so unfair. You can almost hear that unspoken question in his words, why me?
Oh, I think we've all been there at some point. That feeling of, okay, universe, I thought we had a deal. What's going on?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But here's where Piper offers this really powerful shift in perspective. He talks about this moment when, amidst all the chaos and uncertainty, he felt this overwhelming impression. Don't ask why. Ask what I want you to learn.
Wow. Wow. So it's not about getting stuck in the why, but rather like looking for the lesson, the growth opportunity, even when things are hard.
Exactly. And it's not to say that we should minimize the pain or pretend it doesn't hurt, but it's about recognizing that even in those tough times, there's a chance for us to learn and grow.
So less, why is this happening? And more, what am I supposed to learn from this?
Yes. And to kind of illustrate this whole idea of how challenges can actually strengthen
Mhm.
our trust, Pieper, he turns to the Book of Mormon. He
Yeah.
talks about Nephi and everything he went through. Like, talk about trust exercises,
Yeah.
getting the brass plates, building a ship in the middle of nowhere.
Don't forget about those brothers. Talk about trust issues.
Right. But through each challenge, Nephi chose to trust God, even when it was hard, even when he didn't fully understand. And with each experience, his faith grew stronger. It's like he was building his trust muscles.
I love that analogy. It's like if you're lifting weights, you're not going to get any stronger if you keep using those same little weights. You've got to push past your comfort zone, try heavier weights if you want to see progress.
Exactly. And I think that's what Piper's getting at, those trust stretches. They not only prepare us for like future spiritual challenges, but really for anything life throws our way.
So it's less about avoiding challenges altogether, because let's be real, that's impossible, and more about building that inner resilience to navigate them in a way that actually strengthens our trust, even when we don't have all the answers.
That's a great way to put it.
It's like he's saying, yeah, life is going to throw you curveballs. You're going to have those moments that really test your trust. But if you can lean into that, if you can keep building that trust muscle, even when it's hard, you'll come out stronger on the other side.
I love that. And, it's interesting because Piper, he gives us this framework for understanding trust in God, but he doesn't give us a step-by-step guide.
That's so true. It's like he gives us the amazing toolkit and then he's like, all right, now go build something incredible. It really shows how personal this whole trust thing really is.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's not about checking boxes or following some strict set of rules. It's about, like, what does it mean for you to trust God in your own life with all your own strengths and weaknesses?
So for everyone listening, especially the person who requested this talk, it seems like the takeaway here is that it's never too late to choose trust.
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're just starting to explore your spirituality or you've been on this path for years, you have that choice every single day to lean into trust, even when it's hard.
I love how you phrase that it's an active choice.
Yeah.
It's not about forcing ourselves to feel something we don't.
Hmm.
It's about deciding, okay, you know what? I'm going to trust that there's a plan here, even if I can't see it right now.
Because at the end of the day, isn't that where the real growth happens? When we step outside our comfort zones and choose to trust, even when we're filled with doubt.
100%. It's in those moments of surrender, choosing trust, even when we feel like we're free falling. That's when we experience the most profound growth.
And that's what makes these deep dives so rewarding, right? Unpacking these ideas together, finding those nuggets of wisdom that we can apply to our own lives. So until next time, keep asking those tough questions and keep searching for those answers. We'll be here to explore it all with you.